All right, hello. I am going to mute everyone just for the beginning. We'll have time to talk after. I just realized on the weekend that this Monday today is the full moon, and full moon is a good time for releasing. So I thought we would do the obstacle release. Yeah, as a thing. And then I was like, just today realizing, working with obstacles is actually really intense. So this is brave, and it's really great to see everyone here. Again, yeah. Okay, so the meditation is going to be longer than it was last week. Last week I was trying to do that meeting the soul of your dream within 10 minutes, so that on the replay you had something you could use as a more regular practice that would be an easier one to use. This one will be longer, and we're going to go more into sitting with our thoughts and feelings and ideas. So it's good to have a journal with you. You can obviously just sit and think about the questions, or you can write things down about them. And of course, if you're here live, you can always come back to the replay. If you miss something, if you're on the replay, you can pause at any time. And I just say that to say, like, whatever comes up for you in your own thoughts and feelings is more important than following what I'm doing. So always follow your own process and know that you can come back and finish this at any time. So it's so good to see everyone here. Okay. So to go into the meditation, let's make sure that you're comfy where you're sitting. You might even want to lay down, whatever feels right for you, to give yourself some space here. Just like close your eyes, take a couple of nice deep breaths. Give yourself a moment to arrive here, ready for obstacle releasing. So the idea of just releasing obstacles, of course, is great, but actually facing and getting close to obstacles can be really hard because it stirs up a lot of feelings. So whatever you're feeling, completely valid. It's okay to feel nervous or unsure, or even excited or inspired or frustrated, or, how we feel is always a valid feeling. Not necessarily the truth, right? But like, your feelings aren't always telling us the truth, but they're always valid. It's always valid that we feel the way that we feel. And right now, we just really want to notice how you're actually feeling, because that is a part of the obstacle. It's kind of all connected. So, so this is an obstacle release ceremony for the full moon. Obstacles are a part of the nature of having a dream. I want you to really think about that they're not a sign that something's wrong, or that the timing is off, or you can't do it, or you've picked the wrong thing. They are literally a part of the process. You cannot have a dream without an obstacle. And there are layers to working with obstacles. And we want to remember that creative dreaming is a practice. We don't have to perfectly and immediately confront and destroy every obstacle, right? So we just want to give ourselves permission to practice being with, exploring, releasing, transforming, working with obstacles. So we're in a practice with it. We never have to, we're not in a perfect with it, right? We're just showing up and exploring and seeing what's there today. So what we're going to do today is a meditation and journaling process for releasing an obstacle's energy from your energy body, releasing it from your mind, your body, your energy body, and then using that clear space where you're free of the obstacles to reflect and to plan out your next steps. And doing this process can be enough to clear some obstacles, or it may be a practice that you would continue to work with. Like, you can do this as a practice every day for a week or once a month, or whatever feels right for you, just to keep kind of doing that work. All right, so you've been deep breathing, you are comfortable, you are ready for the meditation. Imagine now that we are gathered together in a circle, and always when I'm, describing or doing a guided meditation, just however it comes to you is perfect. So everyone who's on the Zoom, everyone who watches the replay, we're all doing this in our own time, but as we do the work, we naturally support each other. So it's like our circle creates a web that supports us all. And so just imagine you're in this circle, having the support of others doing the work, knowing you're not alone in this. Also, sometimes just remembering other people have obstacles too. It's really easy to feel alone with the obstacle. So just knowing that you're not. So imagine that there is a sparkling bubble of light hanging in the middle of the circle. And this bubble is filled with the qualities of creativity, steadiness, and healing. So just notice what this looks and feels like for you. These qualities are starting to fill our circle. Creativity, steadiness, healing. So now as you're breathing, nice and slow and steady, whatever way feels good for you, just imagine that you are breathing these qualities in. So you're breathing in creativity, steadiness, and healing. And just notice how this feels in your body as your body fills up with the qualities of creativity, steadiness, and healing. And you can do a scan of your whole body, just noticing how it's receiving these qualities. You can send certain qualities to certain places, whatever feels right for you. You can imagine them as colors. Sometimes that makes it easier. Just breathing in creativity, steadiness, and healing. So as your body becomes filled with the qualities of creativity, steadiness, and healing, as you breathe out, you are also breathing out creativity, steadiness, and healing. And so you are filled with and surrounded by creativity, steadiness, and healing. And so it's like the sparkling bubble that was hanging in the middle of our circle has grown, and now we're inside it, perfectly supported by the web of our circle, perfectly supported by creativity, steadiness, and healing. So I use the word magic a lot because when you do inner work in a focused and deliberate way, and I think also when you allow your dreams to kind of guide you through it, the results can tend to look and feel like magic. But it's not magic, right? It's a natural result of integrating your creativity with your soul, your power, your purpose, your desire, right? It's just about living as who you actually are. So it's the natural result of releasing what's not yours and moving towards your truth. So that's what we want to do today, just take our next steps within that process. So now in our circle of creativity, steadiness, and healing, just really notice the floor beneath your feet or the chair beneath your seat, wherever it is that you are kind of held by gravity to the earth. Feel into that connection you have to the earth. And really notice how gravity is holding you. You know, the earth supports everything that happens in your life. Just feel into that, just immense, infinite support. And imagine your own roots digging deeper and deeper into the earth. Feel how being grounded and supported by the earth helps you stand taller in your own truth. And feel into the support of this circle, and that's on Zoom or on the replay. Just the fact that other people are doing this too, other people have obstacles. Feel into the support of doing this brave work with other brave souls. So, what is it that you are here to release? So, you can just think about this or write it in your journal, but get specific. It can be very uncomfortable to name and sit with the obstacle, but this is a part of the process of release. So, what is it that you are here to release? I'm just going to be quiet for a few minutes here. And I see we had someone just join. So, hello. And we are in the middle of the meditation. So, we'll just be quiet for a minute and then we'll come back. But right now, we're thinking about what is it that you are here to release? Let's see if you can get more specific also. Sometimes we try to hide in vague things. So, really specifically, what is it that you are here to release? And why is now, today, the right time for you to release this thing? So, as I said, today is a full moon, and that's generally a good time for releasing. When my stepkids were younger, I remember bringing them outside on a full moon and explaining how the moon would start to look smaller every night. And then in 2 weeks, it would seem invisible, like it's shrinking. And I said, if you give the moon your problems tonight, as it shrinks, they will shrink and then they will become invisible. The moon will take them. And to me, that's the gist of it. But I want you to get specific about your life and your dream and your obstacle. Like, why are you ready to release this particular obstacle right now? And list some reasons why you're ready to let it go. And if anyone wants to share in the chat, I can read them out into the circle or keep them for yourself, whatever feels right. But why are you ready to let this go today? All right, we're going to move on with the meditation. I'll just give you maybe 30 seconds to finish up there. Oh, we have a comment here to release expectations came from higher self. Nice. All right. So back in the meditation, we're in our circle. It's just a web of creativity, steadiness, and healing, holding space for us here. And now hanging in the center of the circle is another bubble, but it's not filled with light. It's filled with the quality of release. And the quality of release is so strong that it has a little bit of a gravitational pull. So it's not pulling us in, but anything that we place into this bubble will be held by the quality of release, and it will kind of pull all of it out of your own energy body, out of your mind, out of your thoughts and feelings, and it will hold it there. So as you're imagining this ball of release, just notice how powerful it is and how it feels to sit here with this powerful ball of release. And just notice how, which we are going to do this in a couple of minutes, but once you take your obstacle and put it inside this ball, it will be held in the ball. It will be out of your own energy field. There won't be a way to grab it back. So now bring your attention to your obstacle. This is the thing that you're about to release, and imagine that you are holding it in your hands. And we're going to sit with this for a minute. The feeling of holding your obstacle in your hands, and just notice the thoughts and feelings that come up here. As I said at the beginning, it's very difficult and uncomfortable to face obstacles. Like, people avoid their whole dreams just to avoid facing the obstacle. So this is super brave. Everyone's doing amazing. We're just going to give ourselves a minute to actually allow the experience of holding this obstacle in your hands, not running from it, not pretending it's not there, just holding it. And notice how the obstacle isn't just in your hands, it's also kind of in you. Like, there are feelings and thoughts in your body and mind that are also activated by the obstacle. And now we're going to take the obstacle and we're going to put it inside the ball of release. And as you do this, imagine all of the obstacles, so all the places in your body and mind and energy body that are activated by it, all of it being sucked into this ball of release. And remember that the release has a gravitational pull. It knows you are giving it this obstacle, so it is taking the whole thing. So feel into this sensation, the obstacle, all of your thoughts and feelings about it just being sucked into this ball of release. And imagine that this is your final goodbye to this obstacle. And then I'm going to come back into the circle. The ball of release is hanging there. Everyone is adding their own obstacles to it. This ball of release is also pulling all of the energy, all the feelings, all the stuff that gets caught and stuck and activated in us. It's all getting pulled into this ball. And take a couple of nice deep breaths, just remembering how you are held and loved by the earth. Just feeling grounded here with the obstacle out of your space now in this ball of release. You're held in the circle of creativity, steadiness, and healing. This is your final goodbye to your obstacle. And now this ball of release, having received everyone's obstacles, kind of being fed by the obstacles, really, it starts to shrink and then it gradually disappears. And we are just here in the circle, held by creativity, steadiness, and healing. The obstacles are gone. We're just going to sit with this question for a minute. How do you feel not holding the obstacle anymore, not having to be anywhere in our circle? And this web of creativity, steadiness, and healing that's holding us in the circle is absolutely keeping them out. Those things cannot bounce back in, not at this time. And what would help keep the obstacle out of your mind, body, and energy and life? And even if nothing comes to mind, we're just going to sit with the question for a minute. What would help keep this obstacle away from you? And then you can also think about, what do your next steps look like without this obstacle? And we want to remember that our obstacles are not entirely self-created. Um, there are, coaching schools that say you're the only thing in your way, of course, but actually there's plenty of things in the world that are in your way. And what this practice does is help you get clear of them and listen to your own intuition and get creative about how you want to move forward. Sometimes that's enough to really bust through something, and sometimes it's not. And it's not a indication of like you're not doing a good job if tomorrow you still have the obstacle. It just means your obstacle is still there, and it's something that the outer world is putting in your way. Um, if you're in Dreambook, and I'll put a link in the forum to that today, but there's a little class called "The Obstacle is the Way Through," about like really facing that and working through it. So that's another one you can look at. And there's like, when I talk about creative dreaming as a practice, we want to have lots of different practices within that practice to choose from, and this is just one. So this isn't like one solution for every single problem. It's just a way of shifting our energy a bit and getting some new ideas, and something that you could repeat in order to really learn more about just that practice of getting that out of your own energy body and coming from a place of not feeling held back by it, even when it's still real out in the world. And then that can change how you face it out in the world. So if anyone wants to share, and you can even just write in the chat, what were your thoughts about what would help keep your obstacle out of your mind, body, and energy? We can kind of help each other with ideas here.
Hi, Andrea.
Hey, Rosanna.
The staying present, make plans, but allow things to unfold rather than create imagined scenarios. And I'm quite good at that. Actually, this morning, that's exactly what I was doing. I was like, okay, and if this and this and this and this. So, yeah. When the expectations, like to release that, popped in, I was like, what am I expecting? I didn't realize that I had created these imaginary scenarios already. So, yeah, keeping it simple, do the next step, do the next step, do the next step, and respond at the moment, not in my head.
That keeps coming to me also in all sorts of ways with my dreams, like respond in the moment when you have that first tiny little discomfort. Respond to that, because I do like to wait till it's so big that it's like completely stopping me before I will be like, oh, okay, do I have to feel my feelings? But yeah, that's really good. Thank you, Rosanna. And we have dancing daily. Yes. Balancing the tension of openness to self-blame from others and closeness to sincere feedback. Oh, I'm gonna read that one again. Balancing the tension of openness to self-blame from others and closeness to sincere feedback. That's a beautiful, beautiful insight. Thank you. And dancing, I was thinking too this morning, I was kind of stuck and I was gonna go out for coffee and just drive to the coffee shop, and I made myself get on my bike because I know that for me biking is really good. And I was like, I will feel better 5 minutes on my bike. You know, sometimes there are simple things. To trust myself and my own timing and let my own intuition guide my dream process instead of outside sources. Yes. Yes, that is an obstacle buster. I love it. And so I'm deliberately not using names if you leave comments in the chats, just to keep everyone anonymous who would like to be. But do also come on and chat if you like. You can just hop on. It's amazing how that when like trusting yourself and your own timing and letting your intuition guide instead of outside sources, how it's like such a powerful answer to most questions with our dreams, but so it's just like the outside world is so loud and consistent about barging in, right? or if anyone wants to share the obstacle you are releasing, like putting it out into the circle, anything at all you want to share, or questions that are coming up about what to do next, we can, the rest of our time, we can just talk about whatever is coming up here. These suggestions are helping me because my obstacle is my buying into other people's yucky opinions about very deep emotional needs. Yeah. That is a beautiful obstacle to release. And people's yeah, that's a really good way of describing it. People's opinions about our deep and real emotional needs can be really yucky. And it's really hard, even when your dream has nothing to do with your feelings, it's really hard to make a dream happen while ignoring your feelings. Another one is just remembering like whatever sensation it felt to release that obstacle and have that ball like pull it in. Like you can call in that sensation as a really short version of this practice. You could do that anytime or multiple times throughout the day. Just like, oh, I got rid of that.
May I make a comment on that? The process of releasing. Um it was very, it had a traumatic feeling to it actually. Um well, it was my inner child that come and was like having a temper tantrum, and I was like, I could feel the heartbreak of that little person, because it was like I was ripping away something from them. But then I just said, no, just sit. We'll just sit now, and we'll yeah. And I just hugged her, and well, I should say them, yeah. And uh, yeah, like they just needed so much support
Right.
to 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 kind of come in alignment with me to say, okay, we can now let that go. That can go there now. But it
Yeah.
was very hard. It was very, very hard.
I really appreciate you sharing that, Rosanna, because yeah, there can be parts of us who absolutely do not want to release the thing.
Hmm.
And their reasons are valid too. And your reasons for wanting to release it are valid. Like everyone's needs and feelings are valid. And one thing you can do is like meet with that part of you and find out like, why do you want to hold on to this? What does this give you? How can I give you that in a different way? And probably you could find a better way. I don't know, that part might not like the idea of a better way, but yeah, to be like that need that this thing is fulfilling for you is very valid. So let's find another way, because otherwise we do call these things, we hold on to them, right? So that's actually um, the real work right there that you are doing. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Thank you, Rosanna. And always like whatever happens is like, this is showing you, this is the work for me on my path, what's next. So it's, and often because I talk about how like your dream grows you, so literally every step you take grows you. And so from where you are at the start of this step, what you think is needed, where you are halfway through, you can realize, oh wow, what I thought is totally different, and now I'm on this different direction. And we can kind of hold on to our past selves idea of what it was supposed to look like. But in the moment, how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what's coming to you, that is your process, even when you think it's shit, right? Like that's, and parts of it do feel like shit. But that's such a really good illustration of that. So thank you for sharing this. And the comment, I feel like I can move more freely to live my soul's calling. I desire to experience less aggravation and stress by letting go of relationships that no longer serve me. Yeah, powerful. Does anyone else want to share? You can just unmute yourself and hop on, or leave a comment in the chat.
Yeah, I'd like to say a little something.
Hey. Hey, Victoria.
Hello. It was interesting because when we got to the releasing part, inside the bubble, I saw like this black hole.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me.
It's like, and it's not, you cannot get anything back out of a black hole. You just can't. And what I was putting in there was some self-doubt.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's like, yes, I have this idea that I want to do it, I want to get my dream fulfilled this way, and I've got all these voices out there, so to speak, saying, oh no, you have to do it this way. So it feels like I felt like I was basically reclaiming my energy, untangling it from the self-doubt, and saying my way is just as valid and legitimate as that way, and I'm just taking my energy and untangling it from having to go this direction and going this direction instead. So I place the self-doubt in, and I sit back and I'm like, all of a sudden I feel a lot of openness inside me with it, the place where the self-doubt was, that now it's not there. And I feel this openness. It's like, oh, I think this might have been some of my procrastination.
Yeah.
That is like, yeah, I've been dragging my feet a little bit because I want, there's the pull this way, but if my energy is free to go in the direction I want, then there's much less procrastination to do it. So
That's amazing. Thank you, Victoria. That is so beautiful.
it's like, okay, that must, it's funny how sometimes things that things that we have to do, that kind of contributes to the procrastination. Anyways, I'm just
There are so
processing.
many good reasons to procrastinate on our dreams.
Yeah, I'm just sitting with it and letting everything percolate. And it's like, I'm going to be doing this meditation throughout the whole waning moon, so that this is an excellent thing to do. Yes. So,
I was just going to say, did you get a sense of what would keep that out of your mind, body, and energy? But there it is.
mm-hmm. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Victoria. And that does bring up something I did want to say, like, you can do this meditation and feel that freedom and like, yeah, like, and then tomorrow you can wake up and feel just as like stuck by the obstacle as you were yesterday. And that doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It's a practice. And so we continue to practice. And then like, that's why I think somehow in the group, and people say even on the replays, it's just a bit easier to do this together. And then you use that as like, okay, I had that experience and now I will continue to work on that, because it's like like a shift in consciousness does start to shift the way that we feel. It does start to shift the way that we behave. It doesn't change that the external world is hostile to our dreams. That's still true, but it changes how we can show up and how we can maneuver. So, yeah.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
We wash our hair pretty regularly. We do this regularly. Does anyone else have something to share?
I think I do.
Ruby.
Hi. So I had I'll say a really gunky ball of what was released. That's all intertwined. There's doubt and fear, and intertwined with that are the sort of what I realize are false beliefs or that go along with that, all of that together. And I really had a sense of that. And and after the gravitational pull that you mentioned, and the question that you asked, what came forth next, there were some feelings of relief, and then some open space. And what was really surprising was that what came into that open space, which was a completely new insight for me, which is that I did not realize that I have put into one basket, I have an undeterminate but ongoing deadline that I'm never meeting. That I feel that like my dream should, in a year from now, I should this should have been done. Okay. And I had not realized, and then of course it's a perfect setup to keep feeling badly when that does not happen, because other things come into life that I'm attending to. And what's made it really challenging is while that's there have been other things that do have time, are time sensitive, and that have really needed to be taken care of, and those things have been taken care of, and there's one more piece of something, and then I can claim that a dream that I've had, part one is done, and I'll be grateful about that. So I realized that just coming to that awareness of and asking, who said I have to have a deadline? Like, what's that about? Why? I mean, I know what it's about. I'm in pay, I would like it. I would like to be on the other end of the work that's ahead of me. I would like to be done and see the fruition of that. But it does nothing for, and I'm impatient, and I want it to be done. However, that is of no use whatsoever. It does. I hadn't realized how big a thing that has been, and that I can see raising that up brought me to the place of, well, very clearly I can very easily just really break easily. I mean, I have a tool, which is, of course, we're journaling about what is time sensitive and needs to be taken care of. But the big thing that, well, I have several, but one of the big things that I want to do is going to require whatever it's going to take, the time it takes, and to trust that that's so, and that what I need to do is really make a blueprint, to really map out, to really really visually write down everything I can think of that falls under it, and just make a decision on where to get started, and take that one area and work on that, while balancing that with all of the things that are life affirming and enhancing for me, that will sustain me, and that will bring me joy. That I can't just go full speed ahead in this one thing, because I know that is really an imbalanced way to proceed. So I may be here, tomorrow doing this again and feel I've lost all sense of clarity, but I have to remember too that that's part of the process. But I'm hoping to hold on to this piece of the time limit I set in my head for this is a false thought I've been carrying, and maybe that's the next thing that I'll release, when I do this again. So
Beautiful. Thank you.
thank you.
Some thumbs up. Yeah. And I love too how we all have different experiences, right? Because we're different, and there's no one way, Here's a comment. This is so obvious and it bears repeating. It really helps to have you here, Andrea, and all the other folks here and sharing. I do need other people, and I buy into other people's yucky opinions when I feel there are no other people in the world at all. Yeah, that's like, thank you.
Can I say something?
Sure, yes.
I just am amazed, not amazed at all the parallels, because everybody that did speak and even some of the comments, the procrastination, the Graham blueprint, Ruby, I really resonate with that. The moving people out of my life that don't fit anymore. I've had 2 this month. It's just been really interesting. So, but worthy of doing. And I'm glad I came today. I feel like we all had this similar theme. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, so assuring to see other people, you know, because there's so few examples out in the world of people really trying to listen to themselves as best they can and follow their own truth. The next comment, I find that fear is a very difficult obstacle to work with. I have even talked to the Power Path to try and help me find ways to deal with my fear. Fear is a tough one. It is. And I think fear for me is one that is kind of more of an almost daily, depending on what I'm going through, of like checking in. And so I know you are in Dream Books, you have the Unsticking Station meditation there, that kind of like offering love to that part of you who feels afraid. That's the thing that I need to do every day when I'm in a big change or taking big steps. Because yeah, just releasing a fear kind of ignores the part of you that is hurt. And generally that's where the fear is coming from. So getting in touch with that. Wow, as I said that, I just found a pin on, like a sewing pin on my dress, which could have hurt me. But okay. But just getting in touch with that hurting part of you and offering love and finding like, what do you need? How do I help you feel less afraid, rather than trying to pretend I don't feel afraid or just get rid of my fear? How do I kind of love through that, if that makes sense? And also, yeah, I would encourage that, like that Unsticking Station practice, like try that with your fear, and send me an email anytime if you want some more ideas for that. Next comment. Another thing that's been helping me is Ruby's metaphor of the electrical plans that have always been there, but had just not seen before, or the blueprints had just not seen before. Oh no, the electrical plans that have always, I remember, that have always been there, but had just not seen before. I know, is there an electrical plug here that I haven't seen yet? Yes, that was from a different call we did, but yeah, that was the idea that there is electricity that we didn't know about, and now we can plug in things. And like, yeah, that's a real little miracle kind of.
I'll just share for those that weren't here that now I'm recalling, yes, that this was a different call, but it had to do with having had my laptop moved out of my studio elsewhere, and my partner brought it back and plugged it in, and I did not even know that this electrical outlet is the closest one to where I am, and I have never known that it was there. I've always been doing this contorted thing to plug it in somewhere else, and it was such a huge aha and such a revelation, and seemed like such a wonderful metaphor for sometimes that we do have access to some energy sources that are there that we're just not aware of. So thank you, Risha, for reminding me about that. That's also helpful to me again today.
There are energy sources that we're not aware of. And next comment, thank you for sharing the Unsticking Station. I've never thought of my fear originating from a hurt part of myself. I have been learning to offer myself compassion whenever I feel fearful. Yeah, I think especially when it comes to anything connected to our creative dreams, the fears do tend to be like around hurt and like it's not safe to be who I am. And maybe I'm not good enough, like the deep stuff. Our dreams really need us to face that. It's like they push us into the things we would least like to look at and say, hey, this is where you need to offer healing and love to yourself, to the parts of you that are hurting. And generally, especially because our dreams are about being more who we really are, when we're afraid around any part of that, that's hurt. That's a part of us that needs love, I would say. So, anyone else want to share? This was such a great call. I'm really, really appreciating everything, all the comments. Heidi, you can unmute.
Yeah, you can hear me okay now? Okay. I'm having a little bit of a hard time because I think I was able to release for about 5 seconds. And I could feel like I love that magnetic
Mhm.
image. But even when I kind of went there, I didn't have that wonderful feeling of, it's gone.
Right.
And so then when your question was, how does it feel for the obstacle to be gone? I have, like, first it's hard to imagine it gone. And then I kind of wrote what it would feel like if it were gone. So that feels helpful, but I'm not quite sure, if this is just something I'm not quite sure what my obstacle is, maybe. People keep on talking about inner things, and I started talking about like fear and resistance to printing my things, and it just seems like there's this whole resistance. But then it turned into, I don't have the right workspace to do what I need to do, and that becomes a block.
Yeah.
That almost just releasing that is not, it feels like truth to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just want to say, Heidi, you're doing this exactly perfectly right.
Thank you.
It's never.
I'll write that down. A+.
I really want to stress, like, sometimes we can do this and it works and we feel like we see things differently and it gives us new ideas, right? And sometimes it's like, this won't go. And that's not a reflection of us. Or even like how permanent our obstacle is just how it is for us in this moment. And so it did show you, I don't know, did you see with as much clarity before that you really need a different workspace?
It's been growing. It has been creeping up on me. And some of it was, I feel bad that I can't make where I am work.
Yeah.
And I've been working through that of like, well, what can I put in place and not feel bad for telling the people that I'm with, I really need to move this over here. Is it possible to do this? But some of it is, I think it is, part of it is just accepting I know what I need, and it's okay to know what I need, instead of, I feel like I've gone through this too many times of adjusting and adapting and trying to tell myself it's okay. And, oh, well, that's just the way life is right now. And I'm tired of it. And then I vibe with Ruby of just like, okay, I want this to be here now, like not keep going through the process. But,
I just
so,
yeah, I feel like whatever comes to us in that, because we're taking a moment to honestly reflect and explore, what you get is what's right for you. And so if it is like, you know what, this isn't really for me to release, that this is something out in the world I need to change. Right. And just that confirmation too.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I think I can do that. It's almost just like, how much can I allow that to be a fact that I need the right workspace, and keep on, as I'm exploring things and making decisions, like not put that to the side.
Right. So then the obstacle being almost around like the ways that you allow other people's preferences to be more important, or that kind of, right? Releasing that and then saying, I need this, even though sometimes it's really awkward, right? Like, so that the situation that you're in is really an awkward one to navigate.
Yeah, and it's there's different layers to it. And some of it is, how do I explain, like there was talk of putting my printer in one person's office, but I hear she's in the corporate, like looking at contracts, and it's a whole different energy than being dreamy and printing, like these dreamy images. And I have to tell her, I realized this morning, I have to tell her I can't do it. Like I was concerned I was going to interrupt her by coming in and getting the prints. And she was like, no, that's fine. But then what I realized is, no, it interrupts me. It interrupts my energy. And it's hard to explain that. I feel like I'm constantly explaining to people who have no idea what it's like to do the work
Yeah.
that I'm doing.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Today
Yeah.
is a stat holiday in Canada, so my husband is home, and I'm just like, oh my God, I need you out of this house. Like, never mind, I have my own space here. I need you gone, because it's like, that's not, as much as I love him and I want him in my life,
Right,
that-
right.
we're in a different space, and I like, don't joke with me, don't like,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's like I guess this is good. Yeah, I'm figuring out, it's been building that, the awareness, where I kept on getting like, yeah, she would bop in and kind of go, how are you doing? Like this real generosity and love, but it'd be like, I don't want to stop what I'm doing right now and talk, like, and yes, it's exactly what you're describing.
yeah. And it's so like, you want these people in your life, but you need different boundaries and work, and it's a lot.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just even a different, like the light isn't really right. I mean, I'm just really going, you know what, the light isn't right. Like you can't calibrate your monitor if it's this bright light that the monitor is automatically going to go, it's too bright, it's too bright. you know. So I guess the other thing is just trying not to, I'm going back to Ruby saying, it's like trying not to push, trying to handle my impatience of kind of, and fear of how long is this going to take before I finally get the right
Yeah.
space, and what happens if I don't get the right space, and what if it's a year from now, that's not gonna, I can't survive like waiting a year. That kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, it gets very tangled for sure. This was like one simple practice that it can't accommodate all of that for sure. But you can work on like, finding the places where you feel you could release something, or just using this to notice all this stuff came up. Yeah, this isn't the right practice for me right now. Here's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
I think it's helpful, the awareness of just get solid on, it's okay to say, this is what I require. And I've been writing that
Yeah.
for quite a while now, but it's like today, it's nice to have the group, and even your example of your husband coming in. I mean, that's it. It's kind of like, okay, plenty of people have the right spaces to do what they need, and it is part of support. And like if you're a carpenter and you don't have good tools,
Yeah.
you can't do your work well. So if we're doing this inner work and expressing it outer and being out helping people in the world, there's a certain vibe that supports us, or space that supports us to do that, and it's okay to claim it.
Yeah, and that comes back a bit to what Risha was saying too. Like, what we're doing is so different from what most people are doing. It's not taken for granted that here are the things that I need in order to do this kind of work. And then it's
Right.
like, I always have to explain it, and it can feel like we're justifying what are just very like just our actual needs to be able to do work in this way. So it's very complicated. And yeah, I mean, I think you're doing amazing. You're like, for everything that's been in the way and all the things you've been exploring, you keep looking to find like, what is that right support that I need? And that's, I think that all we can do is like stay in the game, keep
Yeah.
working on it. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what to work on. You have ideas for what to work on now with it, right, Hadi? That's
Yes, I think, yeah, I feel better. And yes, I think yeah, we're back.
We're back. Yeah. And we have to, like, there's so many uncomfortable parts and uncomfortable things to look at. That's part of also why I wanted to do these calls every Monday all summer, like just to normalize, like that's a part of it. And I love, Heidi, the way that you stay in it and don't look to kind of like, oh, let me just find an easier way. Let me just make do with this. Rather you stay, "Oh, this, you know, this is how I'm feeling about this," because that moves you through it rather than like we start to avoid all the things that are uncomfortable. That cuts off so many options for us that we can't have our dreams. So.
Yeah, thanks. You know, it just occurred to me, it would be interesting to do a session on how do we explain what we're doing
Yeah.
In our work, or I do find that instead of like being with the kindred spirits, like where I go, I'm just in a phase in my life that it seems like I'm more encountering the non-artists or the non-inner work people. And it's, and I can't just go, well, I'm not going to hang out with those kind of people, because it's almost like that's where it's leading, you know? And so like I just realized I went and saw, I went to try a different part of LA and went to a gallery deliberately that was a photography gallery, and I had this great experience talking to the owner and why he's living here, and the work that was there was just gorgeous. It made me feel inferior, like I saw myself going, oh, I'm not going to give him my business card, he's going to look at my website and see these little airy things, and these people are like doing these on gold leaf, like mysterious gorgeous things. And so that's like a block. I mean, that was also on my list of what are the, you know, blocks. But I did find the other night that when I was trying to tell the people that I'm staying with what was at that gallery, or what my whole experience was, I realized they're not in that world at all. So, and it was kind of a nice little slice of life. And I guess these are the gifts of what is happening, is me being able to explain how people were making their images, and also just how a gallery works. Like, she was like, well, did you get to meet the owner? And I was like, yeah, he is the owner. It's one person. Like, doing big stuff. You know, it's not like a major company, but he's selling his stuff. Like, some of it's $4,500. And so it's a trick. Like, I find almost like it would be helpful to me to hear other people talk about the challenges of explaining their work to people who are not in that world.
I could see that as a topic for one of the marketing as a creative and spiritual practice.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sometimes I try to find the simplest way that will get me out of the conversation the fastest when I'm in real life, you know, or in the.
Yeah, I guess I kick into, well, I get irritated, but then when I'm not irritated, I see the opportunity. It's a teaching mode, you know. It's like, wow, you know, how are we going to be successful if people don't understand what we're doing? It's a whole
Yeah.
group of people that they're interested. I mean, I have to catch them at the right time. And this was, all of a sudden, it took me by surprise, where all of a sudden I went, wow, they really do, like, they're mystified. Like, what were you doing up there? And, you know, like, the guy said, well, did you meet some, you know, were you meeting up with someone there? And I was like, no, I was going to the gallery to see someone else's work and be in that world and get inspired myself.
Yeah.
So, but I like your thing too, of just like shut it down and go do something else.
Well, that's in different
I need
circumstances.
permission for that too, right?
Yeah. So yeah, okay, that'll be a good conversation, I think.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm just going to go through the comments. I will say that long COVID has been super challenging in the not good enough feelings. Yeah, absolutely. So many, I feel that. Oh, and then, yeah, Heidi, my obstacle is material too. Material and external obstacles in the form of a lack of resources, money. And I'm just going to skip ahead and continue. that person said.
Mhm.
Releasing felt visceral, like having a tooth pulled, but afterwards I saw money as a tidal flow in and out of my harbor. I recognized how well I manage money when I do have it, feeling good and hopeful now. Yes. Glad to hear that. It is like, there's like, it's amazing to me, like if we can go into the discomfort and stay with how with what we're actually experiencing, we can actually find these places where we feel, remember more of the truth of what we're capable of. Oh, and then someone had said that their husband is also home too, and she had to closet herself. Yes. Yes. Oh, this is great. I'm so happy and thankful to be here in this supportive space doing the work with all. Awesome. I'm so happy that you're here too. Oh, and someone had to go. So thank you all for sharing the energy. You helped the journey. I have to go. Have a wonderful week all. Thanks so much. I have to run too. Oh, thank you, Andrea, and all for the amazing meditation and supportive space. Have to go. See you next time. And I second Heidi's idea on how to talk to the non-kindred spirits. Yeah, I'm not saying I have ideas, but we could have a discussion.
Yeah, right. Did you see Melior's about like having a tooth pulled?
Yeah, I did. I read that one.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
hear it. I'm kind of behind you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that there's just like remembering. Actually, I had a well, this is related to some conversations we've had on other calls, how as the cost of living keeps going up, sometimes there's these little like, and this morning I had a part of me just freaking out about something. And I actually I wrote it, it'll be on my blog tomorrow, but it was just like, oh, like there was this big unexpected expense. And now you are afraid of absolutely everything, right? Even though I'm like, okay, but we had the money for that. And actually we're pretty good at saving and like, it's okay. That doesn't matter to those parts of us that get scared. Like they're still, and then they can ruin all sorts of other things, right? They can, hard to like, it takes so much trust to listen to our creativity about how we want to live our lives in any way, right? Like, so these little things actually are the bulk of the work. Just learning to take care of these parts of us. So. All right, I just want to say thank you, everyone. This was so good. And next week, same time, same place. We will do this right till the end of summer. And if you have ideas like for things you want to do on these, like on the public calls, you can also email those to me. I am just really making this up as I go, just kind of from the marketing as a creative and spiritual practice calls we've been doing. This is my experiment. Like, how do I experiment? Just sharing my work in a like no strings attached kind of way. And I'm really enjoying it. And like, I just kind of want to be in the moment with it and see where it goes. So as we do this, let me know what other ideas you have for sure. Oh, it's my first time. Thank you for this positive space. Just wanted to listen this time. Awesome. Yeah, and never pressure to be on camera or to share. Totally, like when I'm a participant in things, I have a hard time talking about my own stuff. So I totally get that. Thank you. You're welcome. Have a nice day, everyone. Thanks, Andrea. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. See you next Monday. Oh, and everyone in Dreambook, marketing as a creative and spiritual practices on Wednesday. So I'll send out a reminder email tomorrow for that one. Bye.
Great, thanks. Bye.